This is Amethyst 11 and this is Psychic Om reading 791 and it's for my client VS. Okay, so VS, you asked me a number of questions in relation to the Om stave spread, one of which was around the future of your current relationship, one of which was around your children. You also asked about health and the ongoing journey, if you will, for the business. So we're going to look at all of that as we look at these Oghams in this spread. Let's start off though here, as we usually do with Beth or Birch. Very much an Ogham of new beginnings, and for this particular Om stave, it's in the position of theming your entire reading. So this is very much about new experiences, it's about travelling into new areas of life, it's about embracing and coming to terms with new ways of living, meeting new people, having new experiences. For you, that's actually nothing new because you've been doing that for quite a while anyway, and one of your life's journeys is about, one of your life purposes rather, is about encompassing new ways of interacting with the world. So for you, I don't think that will be an outstanding surprise. Let's talk about this here, and we will do this section here briefly, and I'll spend the greatest deal of time on these sections here, but let's look at this first. These three here look at the past year or so for you, and this Om stave that themes that last year is Muim or Vine. And this is very much about reaping what you sow. It's about harvest, it's about reward for effort. Now that can be negative reward as opposed to positive reward, and I think already you're very much aware of both the karmic impact and also current life impact of our walk through life. For you, the last 12 months has been a time of several rewards, both negative and positive. And when I'm using the word reward there, so I need to be a little bit careful. Outcomes is probably the right word. I probably don't need to say to you, but I'm going to reiterate it anyway, that you know you're the architect of your own life, and whatever it is that you currently experience is a result of or influenced by the interactions that you have had with your life previously. I don't think that's anything new for you. Here we have Heather or over the top of Ash. Now Ash, this Om stave here, is very much about transformation. It's about changes, but it's about changes that are imposed on you by other people, by circumstances, by situations, and for you it's very much related to your health, and how that dramatically and significantly impacts on all of the things that you want to do. And over the top of that we have Heather, and this is Heather is most notably about love. It's about companionship, it's about partnership, it's about dedication and devotion, but that doesn't always mean that it's about that with another person. It often and in fact usually means it's about a willingness and an understanding and the experience of learning to love and appreciate oneself. That's been a long journey for you. It's not just in the last 12 months, but there has been an ongoing ability and a growing ability for you, where you can appreciate who you are, both your strengths and your weaknesses, and use those to fuel where you go forward. This Om stave here is Gort or Ivy, and it's in the position of what's happening right now for you. Now I'm very much aware, and I sense already that for you, life is very much about contribution to community, to family, to self. For you, your life's purpose is not necessarily about developing a massive bank balance, although of course, you know, having enough funds to have choices is important. But for you, it's much deeper than that. It's much more about finding your place in the world. But right now, I keep getting the sense that whilst intellectually you know that, and at a very deep core level, you know that your purpose in life is to serve and to support others, and you're happy with that. Just recently, you've begun to question how that manifests itself in your life. Ivy is very much about survival, and I feel at the moment that you're treading water a little bit, that you're not quite sure about what the next chapter is all about. Whilst it will be an advancement on where you currently are, what exactly does that look like? And that's what you've been asking yourself. Also, I think that there's been far more sadness creeping into your life recently, and that you put a brave smile on to the world, but underneath, you know, you're feeling pretty tarnished. So all of that kind of core stuff, I think you're already aware of, and I'm probably preaching to the converted, so I'm going to spend much more time here because that's where we can really get to grips to answer the questions that you talked about. Before we do that, though, I'm just going to go through each of these staves so that you can have context for why I'm saying what I say. This stave here is Dewar or Oak, and this is theming your next 12 months, and this is very much about hard work, it's about tenacity, it's about dedication and commitment, and these two actually go very well together. Both of them are determined, almost stubborn, some people would say. They're absolutely dedicated to the end result. The difference between these two, though, is that Gort does it because it's survival, Oak does it because it's contribution. So at the moment, for you, the ongoing, dare I say, battle of life is something that you are surviving and experiencing, but the next 12 months is much more about hard work and tenacity, but because you have renewed commitment and dedication to doing so. These two here, on the top we have Erde or Aspen. It's actually a little bit about fear and doubt and worries and concerns about the future. And underneath that is U or Aho. Now U is about transition and change, and it's a little bit different than this stave over here, which was Ash, which is also about change. This is about the changes that are imposed on you by others, and for you, we were talking there about your health. This is about changes that you put in place for yourself. This is about decisions that you make about your future. So both of this one was about change you've had. This is about change that will occur, but this is where you get back in control of that change as well. It actually sits underneath Aspen, though. So what I'm hearing there, what I'm seeing there, is that you want to make changes, you want to grow, develop, and you want to make significant changes with your family, but the emotional fear of retribution, and I don't mean that in a physical sense, I mean that in the fear of hurt, not just for yourself but for those around you, will continue to hold you back a little bit. This stave here kind of underpins your future 12 months, and this is Alder or Fian. And Alder is very much about giving and receiving advice. It's about supporting others, and of course we know that because you can't really separate these two. Oak is about giving to community, Alder or Fan is about giving emotional support, whereas this is often about giving not just emotional support but physical tools to assist people. I'm unsure of what your business actually does. We've never really talked about what your business does, but not that I can recall anyway, but I feel very, very strongly again that your business is about service to other people. It's about supporting other people through their journey. It's about contributing to how they progress and providing them with tools and techniques and support along the way. So let's put all of these together. What we have here is very much a 12 months ahead of continued hard work. And I know that's not necessarily what you want to hear, but I don't think you'll be surprised by that. You are a hard worker anyway. You have immense dedication to task. And for you, there is a very strong link between what your business does, what your work is all about, and who you are as a person. You can't separate them for you. It's almost as though your work, in a way, becomes your identity. If you couple that and put your family in that, your loved ones in that, your work becomes an expression of the love that you have for your community. And that will continue, undoubtedly, so very much so. In terms of the messages are coming through a little bit garbled, so forgive me if I kind of jump all over the place in terms of the questions that you asked. In terms of your daughters, you asked me about both of those. I'm not getting strong messages for either of those, and that may well be because of any emotional, energetic blocks that you're putting around them, not to keep me out, but to protect them from other people, and that might be causing a little bit of fuzz. However, for your eldest daughter, who, as I understand it, is travelling overseas shortly, I do see that she will be away for a wee while, but I see that she will come back, but then I see that she will go away again. And for you, that's going to be really quite difficult. She's going to have itchy feet for quite some time, and she's going to want to travel around, not just to where initially she is aiming to go, but she wants to spread her wings and do a little bit more. Your role in that is, again, I think I will be preaching to the converted, but is to support her on that journey, because of course that's her journey to experience. However, whilst she is away, she will make some decisions that will cause you some angst. She won't be in physical danger per se, but she will make some challenging decisions. Part of that will be about the exploration that she's going through, finding out about who she is and where she's with, and how to make friends, how to develop relationships, and how to interact with new communities. So there's going to be a couple of difficulties for her to overcome, and Spirit is telling me to tell you to be supportive of her, but to let her fall over and to make her own decisions to recover from some of that herself. And she will do so very well indeed. And in fact, some of the questionable decisions that she makes will be questionable at the time, but will serve as fantastic learning mechanisms for her. So this Teresa are asking me to say to you, please allow her to make those mistakes. The youngest one, at the moment, they're not giving me anything about her at this time, so I'll try and pick up again on that in a moment. In terms of your health, what we have here, this is often about health, this particular Ogham stave here, and I keep being told that there is no major improvement in your health during the next 12 months. And again, I know that's probably not something that you want to hear, but I strongly suspect that that is something that really doesn't surprise you. I sense very strongly that the next 12 months ahead is in terms of your health, is a time of status quo. You asked me about a particular event that you would like to attend in September of this year, and the staves are being quite non-committal on that at this point, and in actual fact are kind of leaning towards perhaps not to do that. So they're also telling me as well that in terms of your health, you are doing all of the right things, and you have been doing all of the right things, but obviously your health has had a massive impact on your relationship and will continue to do so. In terms of that relationship, I'm told your partner simply physically doesn't understand, or rather mentally just doesn't comprehend the immensity of the health issues that you have to deal with. That's number one. And number two, that relationship has run its course and will continue, though, in the status quo unless you make a decision to make a change to that. And you're not willing to do that, the staves are telling me, because the repercussions of that change would be too immense, not just on yourself but on your family. So what the Ogham staves are saying here is that you need to weigh up the cost of continuing in the physicality of that relationship. Now, the Ogham staves are also saying here some stuff which is quite controversial, and again may not be what you want to hear, but your relationship in terms of shared emotional support with one another is pretty much dead in the water. You've not said those words as such, but I think that's where we can go with that. However, there is still a degree of support financially and circumstantially, I guess, in that relationship that is beneficial, not just for the kids, even though that they're getting older, but in terms of tangible outcomes, finances, geographic location where you both might be living, and the additional expense if you were to separate and not live in the same house, and so on and so forth. So what it becomes instead is a partnership of circumstance rather than an emotional coupling. If that is the case, the Ogham staves are saying that you have got room in your life. You must accept that. I guess that's number one. And having accepted that, the Ogham staves are suggesting that there is then room in both of your lives to add to that with emotional support from other people. I told you that was going to be pretty controversial, but that's what they're saying. So that your relationship is one of convenience. Your primary relationship at this point is one of convenience. And if that works in terms of convenience, that's fine. And the spread doesn't say that it doesn't work in terms of convenience, finances, and so on and so forth. The Ogham staves are saying that the relationship continues to support what you want to do with your business, and that if you were to actually physically separate, go and live in two separate houses, that would place a considerable amount of strain, not just on you, but on your girls, and masses of financial strain on you both, and the relationship would deteriorate rapidly thereafter. So I guess what they're saying is, can you come to an agreement, a shared, vocal, agreed agreement? It's not just something that you both do without actually talking about it, that is the sum total of your relationship. And if that is the case, are there avenues for both of you to seek emotional support and comfort with other people, and that you do so knowing that both of you have permission to do so. So that's a little bit radical there, but I have to tell you what's coming through from the staves there. In terms of business, now I seem to recall that we talked about this once before, and I think that you mentioned this in your message as well, that I suggested in your last reading that you think about writing a book, and you'd mentioned that you've done that but it's kind of stalled. I'm going to ask you to think about when the time is right to keep that going, and in the meantime just keep a little bit of a diary, because that will begin to feed some of the stuff that you want to put into that. I still see that the Ohms are still saying that that is an avenue, both of financial income for you in the future, and also a way for cathartic release, and also to share your journey with other people. Can I also make a suggestion for you that you mix some of that with video, that you have a video discussion with yourself, or set up some interview questions if you like, and kind of interview yourself on video and use that so that it becomes a video blog or a video diary as well as just a written diary. For you, the written word is really quite important, but what we know from that is, or what I can tell from this is, that the expression of self for you is really important. That doesn't necessarily have to be in words, you know, in typed or written words. The expression of you can be in so many other ways. And in fact, your business, what I keep seeing in terms of service to other people, for you, for your business, is an expression of you. So I'm going to ask you to think about alternative ways to deliver that around video and pictorial kinds of mediums. For health for you, I just want to go back to that a little bit now. I think I mentioned previously that I see status quo happening in terms of your physical health. Can I really encourage you during the winter months to rug up and keep really warm, because I also see that your circulation is a little bit lacking, and that you tend to get really cold fingers and cold toes on occasion. So I'm going to ask you to think about really wrapping up really warmly. If that is the case, I would also suggest going and seeing perhaps a naturopath or a Western herbalist, and perhaps thinking about ginkgo as a means of supporting additional ways of supporting your circulatory system. Sleep is really important for you in the next year as well. I keep seeing your knees being really quite sore during the winter period as well, and that there's a tendency for your knees to be additionally sore. And I know that you spoke more about eyes and neurological issues for you, but I keep seeing your knees and your joints as being quite painful and aching, I guess, on occasions as well. I've really encouraged you to think about or explore the options of herbs as they potentially could support your health. I just also want to go back to the business again. I'm sorry, I know that we're going backwards and forwards here, but often the staves just aren't logical in how they deliver information to me. Your business, you want to morph the business. We can see that from this one here, but I see such stagnation at the moment, and the stagnation emanates from the capping of your primary relationship with your partner. It's as though that primary relationship has just, you know, holding you down, and it infiltrates your capacity to be motivated and to be creative. So again, you know, going back to what I said before, if you can come to a shared understanding whereby you both appreciate that you have something to give to each other in terms of tangible support that may not include emotional, loving support, but that could be provided by somebody else, then I think you will feel much freer as well. I'm not talking about, let me just rephrase, I'm not talking about having affairs. That's not what I'm talking about at all. I'm talking about both of you understanding the difference between emotional support and tangible, circumstantial support, and recognizing that sometimes they cannot come all from the same person. I really encourage you to think about alternative ways this year to market the business as well. I'm not sure if you have an internet web presence, a website, But if you do, I really encourage you to grow that a bit more. I'm being told it needs to be updated again, that the colour scheme needs to be updated. I'm not quite sure what that means. And that there are better ways to use that. I'm also being told to ask you to think about, is there an online way in which you could deliver some of the supportive mechanisms that you have, and that may well be perhaps the development of a forum for the people that you support, that they can then continue to utilise the support, not just of you but of other people who you support. If there's a confidentiality issue around that, that might need to be overcome, but where all of the people that you service, if you like, can get together in a confidential forum where they continue to support each other, and you grow a community from that. The Ogham staves are telling me quite clearly that if you can grow that kind of an online forum, you can use that to leverage off into other targets, other audiences, other tribes, if you will. I'm just going to talk now about Raven, who was your card that came up, and I won't do your birthday because of course we've already done that. Raven or Bran, lots of people think that Raven is about death. Well, he's not. He's not about death at all. He's very much about rebirth and about new life, which of course was your theme stave as well. But it's about, Raven is very much about you accepting new life, so that it means that you have to reject the old paradigms or let them go to make room for the new experiences. And Raven talks about how we hold on to old experiences, to old dreams, to old paradigms, to old goals, even to old people, because we can be a little bit afraid to tread water, to stop treading water and to take that step into the unknown. So Raven says once we accept and engage with the new, it often brings us greater happiness and peace. So in other words, this is that year for you to really think about stepping out of the comfort zone of the relationship, but also to step outside the comfort zone of your existing business model, if you will, and think about how that can be delivered in other formats. It's also about accepting that your eldest child is about to fly the coop, and that family life as a result is going to evolve and be modified. So Raven talks about initiation, or stepping into that new life, if you like, and it's about transition and about giving yourself the freedom to step into that new life. So I really encourage you to jump on the internet and find out about Raven and how that druidic animal spirit can support you on your journey going forward. So I hope that has been helpful for you, and I hope that that's filled in a few gaps for you, VS, and that it helps you make some decisions about moving forward.